Taylor Swift was performing Never Grow Up when she noticed two women in different sections of the stadium, both holding signs with the exact same name, Emma Rose Thompson, born June 14, 2008. One was a 16-year-old adopted girl searching for her birth mother. The other was a woman who gave up her baby 16 years ago. Neither knew the other was there. When Taylor realized what was happening, she stopped the entire concert and created the most emotional reunion in music history. Emma Rose Thompson was 3 days old when she was placed in the arms of Karen and David Thompson. They had been trying to have a child for 8 years. Emma was their miracle. Karen and David were exceptional parents. They never hid the truth from Emma. From the time she could understand words, they told her she was adopted, that she was chosen, that she was loved beyond measure. But even in the most loving home, Emma always felt something missing, a piece of her identity that she couldn't quite grasp. Who did she look like? Where did her love of music come from? Why did she have this inexplicable sadness sometimes that she couldn't explain? When Emma turned 13, her parents sat her down and gave her a folder. Inside was every piece of information they had about her adoption. It wasn't much. Closed adoptions meant minimal information sharing, but there was one crucial detail. Her birth name had been Emma Rose Thompson. Her adoptive parents had kept the name. They thought it was beautiful. They thought it was hers to keep. "If you ever want to find her," Karen told Emma that day, tears in her eyes, "we will help you. You loving her doesn't mean you love us less. We know that." Emma started searching when she was 13. For 3 years she hit wall after wall: closed adoption records, privacy laws, a system designed to keep birth parents and adopted children separated forever. Sarah Mitchell was 18 years old when she got pregnant. Her boyfriend disappeared the day she told him. Her parents told her she was on her own. She lived in her car for the last 2 months of her pregnancy, working at a gas station, saving every penny for the hospital bill she knew was coming. On June 14, 2008, at 3:42 a.m., Sarah gave birth to a baby girl at St. Mary's Hospital. The nurses placed the tiny, perfect infant in her arms, and Sarah felt a love so overwhelming it physically hurt. For 3 days, she held her daughter. She sang to her. She memorized every detail of her face. And then, on the 4th day, she signed the papers. "I can't give you what you deserve," Sarah whispered to her sleeping baby. "But someone else can. Someone else will." The adoption agency told Sarah it was a closed adoption. No contact, no information, no way to ever find each other. Sarah walked out of that hospital with empty arms and a broken heart that never healed. For 16 years, Sarah thought about her daughter every single day. Every June 14th, she fell into a depression so deep she could barely function. Every time she saw a girl around her daughter's age, she wondered, is that her? She'd tried to find her. She'd contacted adoption registries, hired private investigators, spent money she didn't have. But the system was designed to keep them apart. And it worked. Until a desperate idea formed. What if her daughter was at the same place Sarah would be? What if fate could do what the system wouldn't? Emma discovered something crucial in her adoption paperwork. Her birth mother had named her Emma Rose Thompson before the adoption. Her adoptive parents had kept that exact name. It was a thread, a connection, a name that both of them knew. In a moment of desperation, Emma came up with a plan. She'd make a sign with that name and her birth date and bring it to the Taylor Swift concert. Maybe someone in the crowd would recognize it. Maybe someone would know something. It was a long shot, the longest of long shots. But Emma was running out of options. Sarah Mitchell, 200 miles away, had the exact same idea. She'd been a Taylor Swift fan for years. Music had been her therapy, her lifeline. Never Grow Up was a song she couldn't listen to without crying. It was the song she wished she could have sung to the daughter she gave away. When the Eras Tour was announced, something told Sarah to buy a ticket. She didn't know why. She just felt pulled to be there, and she decided to make a sign. One last desperate attempt to find the child she'd been searching for since the moment she let her go. Emma woke up at 6 a.m. on concert day, too excited and nervous to sleep. She and Karen had been planning this for months. The sign was already made. Lying on Emma's desk, white poster board with black permanent marker, letters big enough to read from far away. Searching for my birth, mother Emma Rose Thompson, unborn June 14th, 2008. Please help me find her. Karen knocked on Emma's bedroom door. When she came in and saw Emma staring at the sign, tears in her eyes, Karen sat beside her daughter and pulled her close. "You're so brave," Karen whispered. "No matter what happens today, whether we find her or not, I'm so proud of you." "Mom," Emma said, her voice breaking, "if we find her, it doesn't change us. You know that, right? You're my mum. You'll always be my mum." "I know, sweetheart, and I hope we find her, because you deserve to know where you came from." Sarah Mitchell lived alone in a small apartment. She'd never married, never had other children. A part of her felt like she didn't deserve those things after giving up her first child. Every year on June 14th, she took the day off work. She lit a candle. She looked at the only photo she had, a blurry Polaroid of a 3-day-old baby girl. This year the concert fell on June 15th, one day after her daughter's 16th birthday. Sarah made her sign with shaking hands, "Searching for my daughter, Emma Rose Thompson, born June 14th, 2008. I never stopped loving you." She stared at it for a long time, wondering if she was being pathetic. What were the odds her daughter would be there? What were the odds anyone would even see the sign? But she'd spent 16 years wondering what if. She couldn't spend another year not trying. Emma and Karen arrived at the stadium at 5 p.m. Their seats were in section 115, row 12, lower bowl, center stage. Emma had saved for 8 months to afford them. Sarah arrived alone at 5:30 p.m. Her seat was in section 203, row 8, upper level, stage right. It was what she could afford on a retail worker's salary. They were 200 feet apart, different entrances, different sections. No way to see each other in a crowd of 68,000 people. Emma held up her sign immediately when she got to her seat. Some people around her smiled sympathetically. A few took photos. One woman hugged her and said, "I hope you find her, honey." Sarah held up her sign more timidly. She felt ashamed, like she was advertising her worst mistake. Some people looked at her with pity. Others looked away uncomfortably. Neither of them knew that the person they were searching for was in the same building, holding an identical sign, searching for them. 2 hours into the concert, Taylor Swift walked to her piano. The crowd knew what was coming. One of the most emotional songs in her catalog. "This next song," Taylor said into the microphone, "is about wanting to freeze time. About loving someone so much, you don't want them to face the hard parts of life. It's called Never Grow Up." Emma closed her eyes as the piano started. This was her favorite Taylor Swift song. It made her think about Karen, about how lucky she was to be loved so completely. Sarah closed her eyes in section 203, 200 feet away. This song destroyed her every time. It was everything she'd wanted to say to the daughter she gave away. Taylor began singing, her voice soft and vulnerable. She scanned the crowd as she always did, looking for moments, for connections, for people experiencing the music the way it was meant to be experienced. That's when she saw Emma's sign. Taylor's voice didn't falter, but her heart cracked. A 16-year-old girl searching for her birth mother. Taylor kept singing, but she kept reading. Emma Rose Thompson, born June 14, 2008. Taylor looked away, trying to maintain her composure. She glanced to the other side of the stadium, sweeping her gaze across the upper sections, and then she saw it. Another sign. Same name, same date. Taylor's fingers froze on the piano keys. The note hung in the air, discordant, as her brain tried to process what she was seeing. It wasn't possible. It couldn't be possible. But there it was. Searching for my daughter, Emma Rose Thompson, born June 14, 2008. Taylor stopped playing mid-verse. The band, confused, continued for a few beats before realizing something was wrong. The music died. 68,000 people fell silent. Taylor stood up from the piano, her hand over her mouth. She walked to the edge of the stage, looking back and forth between section 115 and section 203. "Wait," she said into the microphone, her voice shaking. "Wait. I need everyone to stay very quiet right now. Something impossible just happened." The stadium was dead silent. Taylor pointed to section 115. "There's a young woman in this section holding a sign. Her name is Emma Rose Thompson. She's searching for her birth mother. She was born on June 14, 2008. Emma stood up slowly, her face burning red. Every eye in the stadium turned to look at her. Taylor turned and pointed to section 203. "And up there in that section, there's a woman holding a sign. She's searching for her daughter. Her daughter's name is Emma Rose Thompson. She was born on June 14, 2008. Sarah stood up, her legs shaking. People around her gasped. "I need someone to check something for me," Taylor said, her voice breaking. "I need to know if I'm seeing what I think I'm seeing." Emma's brain was moving in slow motion. She looked up at section 203, squinting to see the sign. "Searching for my daughter." The same name, the same date. "Oh my God," Emma whispered. "Oh my God, that's her. Mum, that's her." Sarah was hyperventilating in section 203. She could see the teenage girl in section 115, could see her adoptive mother beside her, could see the sign that read "Searching for my birth mother." "That's my baby," Sarah said out loud. "That's my baby." Taylor Swift was crying on stage. "I think," she said, her voice barely a whisper into the microphone, "I think your daughter is here. And I think your birth mother is here. I think you found each other." Security guards appeared at both sections simultaneously. They helped Emma and Sarah navigate the crowds, escorting them down to the arena floor. Emma was running. Sarah was running. Karen was following, crying so hard she could barely see. They met in the middle of the arena floor beneath the stage lights. In front of 68,000 witnesses, for 5 seconds, they just stared at each other. Emma saw her own eyes looking back at her. The same nose, the same hands. Sarah saw the 3-day-old baby she'd held 16 years ago, now a beautiful young woman. "June 14, 2008, Emma whispered. 3:42 a.m., Sarah answered. "St. Mary's Hospital. You weighed 6 pounds 4 ounces. You had a birthmark on your left shoulder blade." Emma's hand went to her left shoulder. "I still have it." "That's you," Sarah said, tears streaming down her face. "Oh my God, that's you." They crashed into each other, both sobbing so hard their bodies shook. Sarah held Emma like she'd been waiting 16 years to do, because she had been. "I'm so sorry," Sarah kept saying. "I'm so sorry. I loved you. I loved you so much." "I know," Emma sobbed. "I know you did. I know." Karen stood a few feet away, her hand over her heart, watching her daughter find a piece of herself she'd been missing. Taylor Swift had walked down from the stage. She approached the two women slowly, respectfully, and wrapped her arms around both of them. "This is a miracle," Taylor whispered. "This is an actual miracle." They sat down right there on the arena floor. Taylor sat with them. Karen joined them. 68,000 people waited in reverent silence. "Why did you give me up?" Emma asked, her voice small. Sarah looked at Emma's face. "Because I loved you too much to give you the life I had. I was 18. I was homeless. I was alone. I couldn't give you a safe home, good food, a warm bed. I couldn't give you any of the things you deserved. Did you ever think about me?" "Every single day," Sarah said immediately. "Every single hour. You were my first thought every morning, and my last thought every night. Every June 14th, I fell apart. Every time I saw a girl your age, I wondered if it was you." Emma reached out and took Sarah's hand. "I forgive you. I don't think there's anything to forgive, but if there is, I forgive you for everything." Sarah broke down completely. Karen moved closer and placed her hand on Sarah's shoulder. "Thank you," Karen said softly. "Thank you for making the hardest decision of your life so that I could have the greatest gift of mine." Sarah looked at Karen. "She's incredible. Did I make the right choice?" "You made the most loving choice," Karen said. "And now she has two mothers who love her. How lucky is she?" Taylor wiped her eyes and stood up. She walked to the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to finish Never Grow Up now. But this time, it's for Emma, Sarah, and Karen. For every person who's ever been lost and then found." She returned to her piano. Emma, Sarah, and Karen sat on the stage floor, holding hands as Taylor sang. This time, when Taylor sang, "I Won't Let Nobody Hurt You," Sarah finally believed she'd done the right thing, because Emma's heart hadn't been broken. It had been protected, loved, nurtured. When the song ended, the stadium erupted, a standing ovation that lasted 5 full minutes. Within minutes, videos of the reunion flooded every social media platform. It's #Emma Rose. Reunion trended worldwide. The video accumulated 600 million views in 48 hours. But more importantly, it started a conversation. Adoption reform organizations used Emma and Sarah's story to highlight the trauma of closed adoptions. They pushed for policy changes that would give adopted children access to information about their birth families. Thousands of other adopted people and birth parents came forward with their own stories. Many of them found each other, inspired by Emma and Sarah's impossible reunion. Within 6 months, 3 states had passed versions of the Emma Rose law, allowing adopted children at age 16 to access their original birth certificates and initiate contact with birth parents if desired. Emma and Sarah talked on the phone every day. They met for coffee every weekend. Sarah came to Emma's volleyball games. Emma spent Thanksgiving with both families. When Emma's high school graduation arrived, Sarah sat next to Karen in the audience. When Emma's name was called, both of her mothers stood up and cheered. In her valedictorian speech, Emma said, "I used to think I was missing something. I used to think there was a hole in my identity, but I learned that I wasn't missing anything. I just had more than I knew. I have the mother who gave me life, and the mother who gave me a life. I have 2 families who love me, And I found it all because of a sign, a song, and 68,000 witnesses to a miracle. Taylor Swift, sitting in the audience as Emma's special guest, stood up and applauded. Taylor Swift created a new tradition at her concerts. She designated a reunion section at every show, a special area for separated families trying to reconnect. At every concert, Taylor performs Never Grow Up and asks the audience to hold up their phones with their flashlights on, creating a sea of lights for anyone searching for someone in the crowd. Dozens of families have been reunited at Taylor Swift concerts since Emma and Sarah's story. The story of Emma Rose Thompson and Sarah Mitchell reminds us that sometimes the universe conspires in our favor, sometimes impossible coincidences happen. Sometimes two people searching for each other end up in the same place at the same time without planning it. Some people call it fate, some call it luck. Sarah calls it a miracle. Emma calls it proof that love never dies, not even when separated by 16 years, sealed adoption records, and 200 feet of stadium seating. All it took was two signs, one song, and a superstar who was paying attention, who saw what no one else saw, who stopped everything to make sure two people who belonged together didn't spend another day apart. If this story moved you, share it with someone who believes in second chances. Subscribe for more stories about love that refuses to die. And if you're searching for someone, don't give up. Keep holding up your sign. Keep showing up, because you never know who's in the crowd, holding up a sign of their own, searching for you.